seems that with all the talk about, Hunter Biden now being indicted for the gun charge, and I argue rightfully that we seem to have lost track of a story that took place earlier this week, that somehow we're now going to have this prisoner exchange with Iran. I'm not opposed to prisoner exchanges, but to the tune of $6 billion. Now, a check is not being written by the United States. But if you give Iran $6 billion, if you give a mouse a cookie, you know what's going to come. What's going to come is not that the people of Iran somehow get a chance to live a freer life, a better life with less oppression. What you have is more terrorism, whether it be towards Israel or towards the United States, certainly more attacks on oil freighters in the Straits of Hormuz. Trusting Iran, this very much feels like the Obama term 3.0. Because Obama was desperate to bring Iran into the fold, or at least show them love for reasons that make no sense to rational people. Guys, welcome to the show, presented by Americans for Prosperity, americansforprosperity.org, economic liberty, free speech. That is what it's all about right there. Let me bring in Congressman Jim Banks of the Indiana 3rd District. He is a candidate for Senate for the Republicans, endorsed by the Indiana Republican Party. Let me share this with you, Congressman. This is Joe Biden just the other day talking about Republicans.
For all the time they spend attacking me and my plan, here's what they never do. They never talk about what they want to do. No, think about it. They tell you what they're against. What are they for? It's like they want to keep it a secret. I don't blame them. Well, today I'm going to talk about their plans. Look, we're going to talk about the MAGA Republican economic plan. And by the way, this is not your father's Republican Party. This is a different deal, all kidding aside. We've all worked with Republicans on the other side over our careers and become good friends, honest, decent people. Disagree like hell with them, but they were in the deal. They thought the institutions mattered. They thought it mattered. Well, guess what? Our democracy is at risk because I don't think they do think it matters anymore.
So it turns out that President Biden wants you to know that Republicans don't think the country matters anymore. And he's the man who just sent $6 billion to Iran. How do you respond to a statement like that, Congressman Banks?
Yeah, Tony, it's infuriating to hear this president say things like that. His actions over the past almost 3 years in the White House proved to me that this is the most anti-American president that we've ever had, a president who never puts America first in our foreign policy and our domestic policy, puts the rest of the interests of the rest of the world first, and paying a $6 billion ransom to the biggest state sponsor of terrorism is proof of it. Donald Trump got us out of the Iran nuclear deal. He campaigned on it. He said he rightly said it was one of the worst deals that America ever got into on Obama's watch. And then when Biden came to office, he was hell-bent on getting us back into another Iran nuclear deal. He couldn't get it done, so this is a backdoor way for him to do it. This prisoner swap, unfreezing bank accounts, lifting sanctions, giving the Ayatollah, the regime in Iran, $6 billion that we know will be funneled to Hezbollah, to Hamas, to their proxy terrorist groups who want to wipe Israel off the map, and the same people who regularly chant death to America. And this is who the president is dealing with. Just one last thought on this, Tony. Until recently, I had a former staffer, Shiyue Wang, who was abducted and captured, arrested in Iran. He was in prison for 3 years, and it happened right after the Obama-Iran nuclear deal. He now works for the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. But he's an example of what happens when you deal with terrorists. You just invite them to continue doing what they do. If you reward them for these types of activities, they're going to continue to do it. They're going to continue to get away with what they've gotten away with before, and think that they can get America to give them more money to let them off the hook again in the future.
Which leads to, of course, the capturing of more people, taking more prisoners, abducting more people. The idea of a prisoner swap, though, you don't oppose that as a concept, do you?
Well, of course not. I mean, it's an important part of our foreign policy to go out and leverage our enemies to allow American citizens to come back home. But there is something deeply wrong with this particular deal. I mean, Ted Cruz has even alleged that Biden has made a secret deal with Iran that includes a $10 billion transfer and hundreds of billions of dollars in oil sanctions relief. And if that is true, this isn't a prisoner swap. This is a backdoor way for the Biden administration to negotiate a new so-called Iran nuclear deal to appease the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, rather than to hold them accountable for their bad activities.
In your time on Capitol Hill, talking to Congressman Jim Banks of the Indiana 3rd District, former head of the Republican Study Committee, candidate for Senate for the Republicans in the state of Indiana, have you been able to ascertain or discern why it is that, whether it be the Democratic Party or specifically those attached to the previous Obama administrations, are so desperate to align themselves with Iran and engage in a defense of Iran?
Yeah, you know, Tony, I asked this question repeatedly. What is the political constituency that motivates Joe Biden to go out and appease Iran? I really don't get it. I mean, I maybe I'm naive, but who are the voters in America who are going to vote for Democrats and Joe Biden because they're giving $6 billion to the biggest state sponsor of terrorism? I don't know who those voters are, so I can't answer that question. And even when I asked my Democrat colleagues, some of my Democrat friends, what's going on here? What's behind the curtain? Why are you guys hell-bent on doing this again? They can't explain it either. The only thing I can come up with, Tony, is that the people ask me all the time. Obviously, Joe Biden isn't with it. He's obviously not in charge. He's not running the country. So who really is? And the best answer I could give them is that the administration is filled with Obama holdovers. I mean, you think about a lot of the key players in his foreign policy were part of the Obama administration. This is almost like a part of the Obama legacy that they're trying to resurrect and correct, that Donald Trump ended, something that Obama did that Trump got us out of, and now Biden is trying to resurrect a key point of the Obama legacy. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the only answer I can give you.
I must say that, I understand the sentiment regarding whether Joe Biden's okay, but it is a statement coming from a member of Congress to say that the president isn't in charge. Is this your belief? Is this a belief on the Hill amongst Republicans?
It's my strong and sincere belief that Joe Biden is not running the White House, that it's the people around him who are controlling what he does. They tell him what to do. It's obvious that this man is senile, that he's not fully with it and not capable of leading our country. So it always begs the question. My constituents, my voters, my friends, all throughout the state of Indiana are asking me, if obviously this guy's not running the show, who is? And that's the best answer I can give them. It's the Obama apparatus, the key figures of the Obama administration that have filled the Biden administration, who are really running the show.
Let's move over to the impeachment inquiry. Of course, it was Speaker McCarthy who came out earlier this week to say that it would happen, whether or not that was because of pressure from whether it be Congressman Matt Gaetz or others within the party. There's been conversations that McCarthy isn't doing enough. McCarthy pushing back, saying, if you want to call for the vote for a new speaker, I dare you to do it. Now, that's an infighting conversation that I'd rather not have around, to be honest. But where are you on the impeachment inquiry? Had you pushed this with Kevin McCarthy? Where are you on this?
Yeah, for the past 3 months, I've been calling for impeachment. I'm ready to vote. Put the impeachment vote on the floor today, and I'll vote for it. However, Tony, there aren't 217 Republicans who are on the same page that I am, who believe that Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in American history and that we should impeach him. So that's why Speaker McCarthy earlier this week, I believe on Monday or Tuesday, announced formally that we will begin the impeachment inquiry process. He instructed 3 committees of jurisdiction: the Oversight Committee, led by James Comer of Kentucky, The key committee in all of this is the Judiciary Committee led by Jim Jordan of Ohio, and then also the Ways and Means Committee with tax jurisdiction led by Jason Smith of Missouri. And that's important because all of the evidence that we already have shows that the corruption led by Hunter Biden, the other members of the Biden family, the money that Joe Biden was receiving from those corrupt deals with foreign countries like China, Russia, oligarchs and pro-Russian oligarchs in Ukraine and other places, and then funneling that money to Joe Biden. We know that Hunter Biden paid to renovate Joe Biden's house, and we know where the money came from in Hunter Biden's account to do that. So but Tony, let me make something very clear. The impeachment inquiry is half about the corruption of Joe Biden, which we know is the case. But really, the other half of impeachment inquiry is how the current administration, the Department of Justice, has covered it up. Why they refuse to arrest Hunter Biden on the tax evasion charges and some of the issues related to what's happened currently in this current administration to cover up some of these situations too. So that's the second half of it. That's very important. That can't be lost in this. There
are those who will tell you that, you have the Justice Department now bringing the indictment regarding gun charges against Hunter Biden, lying on Form 4473, and a series of charges. And I am actually surprised. I didn't think the DOJ would get it done. I didn't think they would make it happen. There are some who want to go down the road of this is to try and keep everybody from talking about Hunter Biden as a foreign agent, Hunter Biden representing other companies and not being registered, right? FARA applications, or I should say, not engaging those properly, those regulations, the word I was looking for. You think this is all cover from the Department of Justice?
Well, remember, I'm glad that Hunter Biden was arrested for an obvious crime that he committed. He threw a gun in a dumpster, and the Secret Service was called to come and cover it up. There are lots of questions about that I hope come to light after the arrest. But the bigger issues here, Tony, and never forget it. When David Weiss, the special prosecutor, uncovered the evidence of tax fraud, and the DOJ refused to arrest Hunter Biden for it, the tax fraud charges are directly related and will lead the paper trail, the bank account records will lead directly to the big guy, Joe Biden, skimming 10% off the top. And what Hunter Biden did to funnel that money to his dad when he sold off access to his father as vice president and probably senator for years before that, those types of corrupt activities. Why didn't the DOJ arrest Hunter Biden for the tax fraud charges where there's clear evidence that occurred? I think it's because I think this is what the impeachment inquiry will uncover. The DOJ refused to do that because it leads to a much larger question and leads directly to the guy in the White House.
This impeachment inquiry, there's a committee. Are you going to be on that committee? Have you asked to be on that committee?
Well, it's not a new committee. Again, it's the three committees of jurisdiction, the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and the Ways and Means Committee. So in Indiana, I think Victoria Sparks is on the Judiciary Committee. I don't know if one of our, I can't recall if one of our new two freshman members are on one of the Oversight Committees. I'll have to go back and look, but no, I won't. I'm not on one of those three committees, so I won't play a direct role.
Congressman Jim Banks of the Indiana 3rd District. Before I let you go, there has been a lot of talk over the past weekend when you saw this story from David Ignatius in the Washington Post about how Joe Biden shouldn't run again. And of course, if you're starting to see the Washington Post and New York Times make this case, very well, this could be the case being made. Is there anything that has shown you that the Democratic Party is serious about keeping Joe Biden and Kamala Harris off the ticket and replacing them?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely at this point that would be the case. The Democrats are stuck with Joe Biden and they know it. So something dramatic would have to happen for them to replace Joe Biden. Remember, Indiana is a good example. We are well over halfway through the ballot access process. I'm going through it, running for the Senate right now, getting the signatures that I need to get my name on the ballot. That process is nearing an end. So the Democrats would have to act very quickly to find another candidate and go out and get that candidate's name on the ballot in 50 states. Now, they could, at the convention, they could change their rules and do things to replace Biden Harris, but my sense is that they're probably stuck with the guy. But like you, I watched a clip of James Carville this morning talking about all the great candidates that Democrats have in the waiting for on the ballot. So there's certainly a conversation on the left out there going on about what they can do to get there. But my sense is they're probably stuck with the guy.
Congressman Jim Banks of the Indiana 3rd District, candidate for Senate in Indiana, the choice of the Republican Party. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And guys, can't thank you enough for being with us as well. Always appreciate it. I've got many, many more things to get to, a lot more video coming. And my thanks to Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org, economic liberty, free speech. That's what it's all about. Great sponsors. Get to do this. It's kind of awesome. And I will catch you next time, everyone. Take care.